Can you brush your teeth too much?
No,
Do mice live beneath the cities in their own little mini civilizations? All of these questions you can find the answer to on This Paranormal Life. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey!
I'm going to be your host for this week, Rory Powers.
As always.
And I'm joined by my co-host, best pal, brother, and lover, Kit Greer.
I sorry, just got thrown. We're not lovers.
Yep, snuck that right in there. Anyway, so what we do on this podcast is every week we examine a brand new paranormal tale. And as professional paranormal investigators, we will come to the conclusion at the end as to whether or not it is true or a load of baloney. We have decades of research behind us. We have years of regretful research in front of us.
It's true. They say that too much focus on the past leads to depression. Too much focus on the future leads to anxiety.
Yeah.
I got ghosts in front of me, ghosts behind me. I don't know what you want to call that, but it's bad.
And why does no one talk about the present? Because I'm sad now. Well, Kit, it could be worse, all right? Because while we may be sad little pathetic men, most people in their lives, like us, live not having to think about what it would be like to come face to face with a giant muscle-bound beast.
Muscle-bound beast?
Muscle-bound beast. We live in London, okay? And there simply aren't that many animals around here that can F us up.
It's true. Not since St. Patrick drove all the muscly beasts out of England.
Exactly. Now we live
back
we
in
well
the 80s or 90s.
Africa has lions.
Right.
Antarctica has killer whales, for Christ's sake. And especially Australia, one of the most dangerous places on the earth.
Now that you're right about. I know we got some Australian listeners.
Yeah.
I would like to know how do you live?
How do you get out of bed in the morning? I assume there are spiders in your shoes.
Spiders in the shoes.
Snakes in your hair.
Yeah.
Your bed is just the mouth of a lion.
Yeah.
You just kind of nestle in there, expect him to swallow, and if he doesn't, congrats, you get to live another day.
Yeah. It's crazy because they speak English. They're like me and you. They look the same. They dress the same.
Right.
But everyone in that country is a goddamn expert survivalist.
A maniac, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I've never been, but I assume, you know when you're like flying to a country and before the plane lands, they maybe give you like a brochure of what you can do or like immigration forms.
Yeah.
Australia is probably, they just hand out harpoons and shields.
It's very much like Battle Royale, if you've seen that.
You're airdropped.
You're airdropped a weapon, a randomized weapon. If you're lucky, you get a gun. If you're unlucky, you
to
get
shoot yourself before you hit the ground.
If you're unlucky, you get a spoon to shoot yourself with. Spoon out your eyeballs or something.
But as I said, as sheltered London millennials, none of these creatures are ever gonna mess with us. It's not something we have to worry about. Or are they?
That was a quick 180. Go on.
The year is 1978, and Patricia Wilcox, a school bus driver, was cruising down a multi-lane road in Wisconsin. The road's pretty full, but the cars are moving quick, and it's a nice sunny day, so she doesn't mind that much, enjoying the cruise.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, she can hear honking in front of her. Something's happening down the road.
Okay.
She manages to catch a glimpse of some sort of group of animals darting across the road. Cars are now swerving, slamming on their brakes, trying to avoid these creatures.
And where did you say this was again?
Wisconsin.
So I don't know what Wisconsin's like. Maybe some deer, maybe some elk.
I think that's what they're assuming it is.
Okay.
But it's not long before one driver plows right into one of the beasts, head on. It's not looking good for the animal. Mm-hmm. If this is a deer, it's been obliterated.
Yeah.
It's not going to survive a crash like that. But all of a sudden, Patricia watches as the creature rises from the floor and hops away, bouncing into the distance. Patricia has just become one of the earliest reported witnesses of a creature known as the Phantom Kangaroo.
So,
are you excited about the next hour?
I'm confused and annoyed. So You said it was a bright sunny day.
Bright sunny day.
Good visibility, obviously.
Very high visibility.
No one even had their lights on. It was like bright sunny day.
No.
She saw something get hit by a car and then escape. Was it a deer or not?
It was a phantom kangaroo. I feel like I illustrated that in bold. It's actually capitalized on the page.
So it wasn't... Okay, so it was a kangaroo.
If you can't accept this now, we're going to have a lot of problems moving forward. All right? So
it's just that you've said that it is something which prior to this story no one thought to ever exist.
I think Patricia would argue with you, actually,
you're
sir.
You're going to need to just explain a little bit of what that is, what it looks like.
I will not, and I will instead continue with the story.
So combative. Okay. Fine. Look, so it's a kangaroo.
For all extensive purposes, it's a kangaroo. Someone hit a loose kangaroo in Wisconsin.
Okay.
A place to which kangaroos are not native.
Yeah.
All right. Now you'd think this would be the only sighting of said kangaroo. You're just rubbing your temple. You're like, I don't want to be here for the next 45 minutes. But if you did think that, Kit, you'd be wrong. All of a sudden, kangaroo sightings start appearing all over Wisconsin.
After this first incident?
Yes. One couple named Greg and Janet Napientek. I'd never read that out loud before. Not making it up on the spot.
Rory usually has notes in his hand. Today is just sitting, eyes closed, frowning, clearly thinking as hard and fast as he can.
Hopping on the spot.
He's doing that thing where he's smacking his lips as if he's like trying to
Napientek.
think of the next plot line.
They were driving down a country road when they saw what appeared to be a strange-looking deer.
It's not a deer, though.
A deer on two strong legs, hopping around.
Deers have pretty strong legs as it is, but these were noticeably stronger.
Like, deers and kangaroos look very different. I think you would have to be very blind to look at a deer and think, why does that deer have a smaller deer in its belly pouch?
Like, I think I know what maybe these stories are getting at, which is they, in the back of their heads, are going, it can't be a kangaroo because they're not native.
Exactly.
But, I mean, like, you don't think that when you go to a zoo.
That's true.
You're not like, is that oh my God, they're kangaroos. Like, that is how a zoo works. We bring animals from other places here. But
this is the wild. There's new laws in the wild. You ever heard of the law of the goddamn jungle? The law is anything goes. So there are no laws in the jungle.
So says the judge of the jungle, the lion.
Greg said, and I know one of the things you're worried about in this episode is that, talking about kangaroos, I'm going to be offensive to our Australian audience. Mm-hmm. So don't worry about that, mate.
Jesus. I've been practicing accents in the mirror for hours.
I think I've nailed it. Greg said, we were pretty close, within about 30 to 35 yards. He stood up, and I really couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was 4 feet tall, coloured like a deer. Janet thought it was a deer, until it stood up on its hind legs, and then jumped over a ditch and fled. She said it was a kangaroo.
So just to clarify, these people were from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin natives, born and bred, never left. I obviously just wanted to do the Australian accent to illustrate their knowledge of wildlife. But even then, they couldn't believe that it was a kangaroo either.
It's true. It is the voice of a survivor, someone who's knowledgeable at nature.
Yeah.
I mean, who's the most brave, knowledgeable person of all time? Steve Irwin. And that is the voice of a professor.
Like all these stories that we've told on the podcast before, things start kicking off, all right? Or I guess you could say hopping off. The newspapers get wind of these sightings, and all of a sudden, kangaroo fever hits the state. You got a kangaroo court, you could say. Groups of men begin banding together for quote-unquote kangaroo hunts.
Really?
Attempting to capture these elusive beasts.
Jesus, this is how... I mean, for sure, bring in professionals.
Right.
There are pest control people. There are sort of domestic animal control people whose entire livelihoods is keeping control of animal populations, keeping control of non-indigenous animal populations so they don't swarm habitats and cause environmental destruction. Tell them, I think, rather than band together in vigilante groups of kangaroo hunters.
Sometimes you gotta seize the moment, Chief. Well, especially as well because these people, apparently they thought they could hunt them using air horns.
What?
I don't know why you would do this. The only reason...
What can you hunt in the world with an air horn?
Well, it's like...
Ravers? I don't know.
You know how, you have, like, bird mating calls and, like, coyote mating calls? I guess if you blow into it, it's like... And that, to them, is like... I want to bang. But if you, I guess,
like a club banger to them.
Yeah, I want to get it on. But if you duct tape an air horn to a kangaroo mating flute and blasted through that, it would be so intense that kangaroos across the nation would just hear like, I want to now, like, let's go.
So let's combine those two songs. If you could repeat what you just said, and I'll do an air horn on the count of 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
I wanna now. That is the noise that is essentially being blasted over the Wisconsin wilderness.
That's what kangaroos hear it like anyway.
Angry and horny. It's actually our new podcast we're starting this week. Welcome to Angry and Horny.
We've gone wrong somewhere.
It even go as far as one man making his own kangaroo costume to lure them into traps.
Really? That seems dangerous. You don't want to blare an angry, horny, I want to air horn for kangaroos and then dress up as a kangaroo.
Be like dancing.
Twerking in this kangaroo outfit. Playing like whatever sexy kangaroo music sounds like.
They hadn't thought this through at all. But the problem was that incidents were so spread apart that sightings would often be miles away.
Okay.
Making it very difficult to pin down any one location to hunt.
Okay, sure.
So as you can imagine, little to no luck with hunting the kangaroos.
Okay.
But not everyone was as mad and passionate as these drunken redneck hunters, who, as we know from researching many stories, are the most passionate people in the world.
Right.
Many Wisconsin residents figured the whole thing was a hoax.
Cool.
Maybe it's just to drum up some publicity for the towns. It's not real. People are seeing deer. There's obviously no kangaroos in Wisconsin.
I would love to see the town hall meeting where they're brainstorming like tourism like ideas. One guy's like, well, we do make good cheese here in Paris, Wisconsin. we sell a lot of peanuts. I guess we could start some sort of, agriculture based, gift store, trying to bring people into the night, say we are, Peanut Town, USA. Someone's going, or Little Australia, the only place in the world you can see kangaroos outside of Australia.
I love it. It's like, yeah, we could, drum up, do talent shows, town meetings, big festivals. It's like, I don't think that's really hitting the mark. Let's think. Where do people want to visit more than anywhere else in the world? The Australian outback. The Australian outback. You're right. And what does it have? Kangaroos. Like the most uneducated men running this town.
Where do people like to go? Where it's hot and sandy.
Really prejudiced as well. It's like, we could set up a little town called, Little Paris. We'll fill it with stinky cheese, rude people. And it's like, and then we'll have Little England, where everyone who has f***ed up teeth.
And we'll serve tea that tastes like shit. Then we'll go to little Shanghai. No, stop it.
Stop it right there.
This is getting racy.
So a lot of people think it's a hoax, but the Wisconsin that's a hard word. The Wisconsin Agricultural Department took the sightings very seriously.
What?
And even went as far as to issue a press release warning citizens to beware of the phantom animals.
Oh, shut up.
I may have added phantom to that
Oh,
sentence.
they just said animals?
Maybe it was animals. Maybe it was phantom.
Okay.
Apparently, the press release warned citizens that kangaroos frequently carry anemia, a potentially deadly infection.
What, anemia?
Yeah.
I thought anemia is just when you like don't eat enough spinach or
That's
some
what
shit.
I thought as well, that it's like a lack of hemoglobins, right? Or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, it's like your blood's not getting
Maybe
enough
they
oxygen.
can carry it in some form, and I don't know. It was in
Jesus.
the goddamn article, all right? And I took it as gospel.
Oh, this is a crazy story.
Worried citizens, if they come across one, they wrote, should check the animal's lower lip for a tattoo for proof of inoculation against the disease.
What? How are you going to get that close to a kangaroo?
I know, like...
What, if it's dead? Is that the idea?
Well, phantom or otherwise, you should not approach a kangaroo and try and lift its lip.
Definitely not.
Tattoo it on his forehead or something.
I've seen videos of kangaroos boxing, okay?
Yeah.
They are the Mike Tysons of the Australian outback.
If you try and lift up a kangaroo's lip, he will kick your teeth into your mouth. You will die.
You will die.
He doesn't even need to be a special type of kangaroo for that to happen.
Although, now that I'm thinking about it, it seemed kind of rude putting those kangaroos in boxing matches, seeing as they have massive legs and tiny, tiny arms.
The cruel irony.
Which you're not allowed to use those legs in boxing. That's very mean.
Despite the sightings and the warnings and the kangaroo hunts, officials never found the kangaroos, and no one could explain the strange incidents. Now, it would be strange enough if these were the only phantom kangaroo sightings in the US, but there have been loads.
What?
So many.
Like
in fact,
in recent times.
yeah, up until I think 2009.
Jesus.
And riffing on this 4 years earlier than this case in Wisconsin, around 1974, in Chicago, a kangaroo was reported loose in the city.
Really?
Now this is actually really funny. While I was researching this story, I found two different descriptions of how this situation panned out.
From the kangaroo's perspective and from the people's perspective.
The kangaroo actually said there was a lot of unnecessary police brutality that went into it. So I thought I'd read out both of the descriptions of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
The first one says, police officers managed to trap the beast in an alleyway. You know, freeze! Don't move, you hoppy bastard. Guns raised. But before they could capture it, it leapt over a giant fence.
No, that is like in the movies, whenever they scale the wire fence.
Yeah. Now, was this leap enough to prove that the kangaroo was some sort of specter? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how high a
jump?
kangaroo can jump. I think this was a big jump.
Is that something we should look up?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
do that right now. So we went online to find out how high a kangaroo can jump, and hard cut later, we're now watching a YouTube clip of a boxing match between a man and a kangaroo. I don't feel good about this.
I don't feel good
They've
about
also
it.
given the kangaroo, like, gloves, which I think, if anything, is going to be counterproductive.
It's going to be worse. And the kangaroo is trying to fight the referee at this point, which I think is fair.
The dude's not really punching him. He's kind of, like, egging him on, like, jazzing him a bit.
I
Actually,
don't
that
know.
was pretty
Dude,
freaking
those
hard.
are pretty hard punches.
This is definitely not legal.
For sure not illegal.
What country is this? Oh, my God!
Yeah. The
That kangaroo...
dealt a few pretty hardcore blows that guy's stomach. It's in Russia, of course.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, I'm sorry for that detour, guys. So we knew it jumped extremely high, 8 feet. I mean, that could be over a fence.
It could be.
It's pretty high.
Or he could have floated, as phantoms do not abide by the laws of gravity,
That's
as
true.
we know.
That's true.
The other telling of the story. 2 police officers cornered the giant kangaroo in a dark alley. When one officer tried to handcuff him, the kangaroo screeched and became vicious,
Whoa.
punching the officer in the face and then kicking them in the shins. When more squad cars arrived, the kangaroo took off at high speeds, clearing a fence and disappearing into thin air.
Wow.
Thoughts?
He sounds like a bad boy, actually. I'd like to meet this kid.
I actually might use that whistle and air horn to see if he's interested. I mean, obviously the second one is the true one.
Yeah.
There's more descriptive. Yeah.
I like that. I like the idea of multiple squad cars turning up to take down this kangaroo.
And the cop's like, you're going away for a long time, Roo. And he's like, F you, pig. Like, getting his head slammed on the bonnet and everything. I got boys on the outside. Phantoms and regulars. They're going to be coming for your kids, Chief. They're going to kick your wife in the balls.
This kangaroo's really malicious. I know what the inside of your house looks like. Hope Timmy's sleeping safe tonight. Cops crying. Shut the f*** up! Shut up! Shut up!
I know you, Pete. I'm in your head. I got you right where I want you. In a little pouch in the front of my f***ing belly.
It's like a Charles Manson of kangaroos.
Gangsteroo. Oh, man. Later, the newspapers reported sightings of a kangaroo in Indiana and Illinois. Wow. But again, no kangaroo was ever caught. What are your thoughts so far?
This is mad.
Right.
It's quite interesting that these are all kind of, I don't know my geography too good, but these are kind of Midwestern states, I guess, the kind of places that kangaroos maybe could live. I mean, you're not going to find it in like Toronto. Yeah, very cold. In terms of North America, you're going to find it like maybe more south, maybe more Midwest.
That's true. And as we know, real kangaroos can only live in certain climates. Phantom kangaroos can live anywhere, anytime.
That's true.
In any place. So the fact that there, as far as I know, haven't been any sightings in very cold areas would lead me to believe that, I don't know, maybe there's something more not paranormal going on here.
The other thing is...
But what then?
Zoos escaped kangaroos from zoos.
I'll get onto that later.
On the conclusion and evidence section.
Yes, 1974 was the year of the Great Escape. Irrelevant, though.
This f***ing zoo can't hold us.
Now I know what you're thinking, alright? Oh, these sightings were in the 1970s. That was ages ago. Any kangaroo that would be alive then would be dead now.
Right, I guess, yeah.
But not phantom kangaroos. They're unkillable, I think. And sightings have continued.
Granted.
Sightings have continued up until nowadays.
What?
There have been at least 20 reported sightings of kangaroos in the US over the last several years.
Oh, Jesus.
This suggests that the beast cannot die. Like Ra himself. He is immortal.
Or they're just multiplying, they're just having babies, I don't know.
One possibility, yes. Or like Ra himself, they are immortal.
Okay, true.
As we discussed in the bonus episode, which you can check out if you're a member of the Patreon, Ra takes many forms. Beetles, a man with the head of an ox, a full ox.
We did cover this.
Could he not take the form of a kangaroo? Of a roo?
Well, we did.
Ra-roo? Roo-ra? Praise Roo-ra? I think I'm having a stroke.
Praise Roo-ra, Roo-ra, whatever will be, will be.
Who's to say that this isn't a Roo-ra? I can't say that sentence.
So, I mean, we did cover this, though, and never once was it suggested that Ra could take the form of a kangaroo.
That's probably because there were no kangaroos in ancient Egypt.
Not even phantom kangaroos.
Not even phantom kangaroos. Now, as you can tell, Kit, from the stories we've talked about today, these aren't normal kangaroos. In fact, many people have blamed them for killing and mutilating animals.
Really?
Something that kangaroos just don't do.
It's true, they don't.
Animals such as sheep, horses, birds, rabbits, and smaller animals, all presumably kicked to death by their massive, muscly legs. One was even said to have carried a sheep in its mouth while it fled.
What?
I assume in its mouth and not in its little pouch.
Yeah. That's terrifying, though. Imagine just I don't know. You get that feeling like you're being watched or followed one day.
Yeah.
You look around, there's an 8-foot kangaroo behind you, and it doesn't even kick you. It doesn't even attack you with its mitts, but it just starts stuffing you in its pouch.
Terrifying.
That is terrifying.
Because those pouches, as we know, are filled with goo.
Yes, I know that from watching The Simpsons.
It's really pretty gross. You think it would be like a snuggly pouch. You could just kind of hop in. But no, it is like a goo-filled sack.
Yeah.
That's pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
One of these phantom kangaroos apparently even attacked a horse, leaving a giant gash across its chest. Another was allegedly hit by a car in 1981, but the corpse and the driver disappeared before it could be investigated. Now, the logical explanation for this, obviously, is that these are, as you said, escaped zoo animals. But there are only 2 cases of kangaroos missing from American zoos, and they were both in 1968.
Wow. Only 2 cases. Wow.
Only 2 cases. Reported cases. So unless people are just not telling the government.
Leaking ruse. 24/7, yeah.
I guess 1968, you could hypothesize that kangaroos got out and banged and made whole armies of kangaroos.
Yeah.
But that's not very likely. I mean, obviously
Not
more
really.
likely is the fact that phantom kangaroos are hopping out of the afterlife and traversing the real world of humans.
It's one of the 2. I know where I'm placing my money.
So I'm going to come down on us both saying that we're dealing with ghost creatures with abnormal strength, a taste for meat, and the power to vanish into thin air. Explanations vary as far as it being linked to genetic mutation or alien experiments, or even creatures from another planet or dimension.
Wow.
You know, this could be any type of cryptid that just closely resembles a kangaroo.
Yeah.
But as we said, you know, this would be weird enough if they were existing just in a warm place. These phantom kangaroos have also been spotted in Japan, Europe, and other countries where kangaroos are not native. More explanations range from misidentified dogs or deers to the theory that they aren't kangaroos, but a different type of cryptid called a devil monkey.
Who makes these names?
Which I did look up the devil monkey, and it does not look like a devil or a monkey.
Oh, really?
No, it looks kind of weirdly like a kangaroo. No, it just looks like I'll show you a picture. It looks like kind of like a man.
Oh, so this is kind of interesting. So this sounds like it's maybe closer to what these phantom kangaroos look like than a regular kangaroo. Because I think maybe for the listener, certainly for me, some of the trouble I have with this case is that I'm just imagining a kangaroo. And this is hard to imagine.
They're called phantom kangaroos because of their elusive, mysterious nature and the fact they resemble kangaroos.
Yes.
One of these things up close might have goddamn fangs.
Yep.
It could have motherfucking gills.
Could have anything.
Webbed feet.
If you've come
laser
from the
vision.
afterlife, you pretty much get to, it's like in a video game, design your own character.
Yeah, like you beat the game once, you get to come in again with maxed out weapons.
Yeah.
And like a big old hog. That is what the devil monkey reportedly looks like.
It kind of looks like a lemur or a meerkat, but 5 foot tall and quite muscly with giant glowing yellow eyes.
Exactly. Now, who's to say though, if one of them hunched over, kind of back straight and hopped around, you wouldn't think upon first look that that's a kangaroo. Look at the tail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe these people seeing these apparitions running about, hopping across the land, are actually seeing other cryptids, unexplained, but obviously just linking it to kangaroos.
It's very true, and we've talked about it many times in the podcast before. Back in the days, we haven't quite covered it all, but back in Sumerian times, there were helicopters running around in 2000 BC. People don't realize, but the plague of locusts in the Old Testament, that was actually Black Hawk helicopters.
I think that's common knowledge. We don't need to get into that.
Yeah, well, let's just breeze past it.
If you don't know that by now, you are
just stop listening.
Legitimately a moron.
Yeah. So that but back then they didn't know how to put that into words because they'd never seen a black helicopter.
Yeah.
So they just called it like locusts or whatever they knew to look like that.
Exactly.
So
and
maybe
you think we're seeing the same thing here.
Yeah.
These people are seeing these goddamn hopping demons,
Yeah.
these roo-rahs, and
we
thinking
only know
that's a kangaroo.
one roo-rah that knows how to jump that high. A goddamn roo.
Just a roo, yeah. So I've given you some stories today, Kit. A hefty amount of evidence. And I don't want you to...
Steaming pile of evidence.
I don't want you to hop to conclusions, mate. But I hope we're on the same page.
So
that was my worst one yet.
I think my thoughts are clear in my own head. I think the audience's thoughts are clear in their own head. I think we've come to a nice conclusion.
I think so too. I think
but let's hear what you think objectively. You've done the research here. What do you make of this evidence?
Right. I went hunting for evidence on the internet. When we say evidence, we're talking YouTube videos. We're talking DNA, footprints,
high quality shit,
hair samples. But they're ghosts. They don't leave shit behind.
This is you
infamously hard to track.
This is you talking to the police. They're like, Rory, you need to be serious. You're going away for a long, long time.
I love the idea of us getting paid to be like ghost hunters and go to hotels and people's houses to like fix the horrible paranormal situations. It's like, well, did you find anything? See, the only problem is it's a fucking ghost. So, there's nothing here. But we do need an advance actually on the payments.
So of course I've dusted the place for fingerprints, but actually, guys, it's a ghost. So good luck with that.
Yeah. Do you actually have any CCTV camera footage? Because I need that immediately so I can put it in the bin. You idiot! It's a ghost. It's like an old couple that run a B&B. We're being so rude to them.
I know they call up our paranormal investigation service like, we think we're being haunted. Could you look into it and see if there's something could be done? And we're like, good luck. If you bring haunted, okay, how are we as mortals going to stop a ghost, okay? You think we're just going to swan in there and just like tell it to leave or like go home or whatever?
Why don't you wait a month or two till y'all are dead and ask him yourself, fuckers?
We're wearing badges that say, ask me about ghosts.
We were so facilitating up until this point. We offer free consultations and everything. So much money and time wasted.
Someday in the middle of us like condescending someone, telling them they're a fucking idiot, you just start getting choked and lifted off the ground by a ghost. Oh my god!
Kicked in the balls by a roo. Shit! So I tried to look up a lot of evidence for these creatures. As I said, ghosts don't leave a lot behind. Right. The only ones are literally just sad videos I could find of people hitting kangaroos with their cars by accident.
Jesus.
Like just driving at night and like hitting a kangaroo, or one of them darting across a field.
In the United States or in Australia?
The description says in the US
and
phantom kangaroo, but it could literally be anywhere.
Yeah.
That could be just a video of a kangaroo that someone recorded on holiday.
Yeah.
I'm a professional, I can't just take that as evidence.
Yeah. And it's tricky because you have in as far as I understand, and Australians listening can correct us on this, but from what I understand, you've got about 70 kangaroos to one person in Australia, and like there's a real issue with big like mobs of these kangaroos running about the place. So I'm sure they do get knocked down all the time, but they also don't exist in any other country but Australia.
That is true.
So it's something
and Chicago,
sorry,
where the streets run brown with kangaroos.
So it's something incredibly ordinary in Australia and literally paranormal anywhere else in the world.
Which is actually a really cool way of looking at it, I think. But in terms of my conclusion and the evidence found, I mean, short of this being Ra reincarnated in Roo form as a Roo-Ra, I don't think this is real. I think people have made up stories. I think people have seen deers hopping about and, thought it was a kangaroo. I don't think it's real. Unfortunately, it's going to be a no from me this week.
And it's going to be a no from me. I've watched enough videos of cows walking on 2 legs to know that this could have been anything.
Blasting milk from his udders.
Blinding folks.
To take out CCTV cams. So unfortunately, this week, it is in fact another double no. But it was a fun one, right? It took us to some crazy places. Wisconsin,
My head
Chicago.
is scrambled, to be honest with you.
I need a big old nap in a slimy pouch. But thank you so much for joining us for this episode of This Paranormal Life. If you want more episodes every month, including merch and other cool additional items, you can check it out by going to our Patreon, which is the This Paranormal Life Patreon, where from as little as $2 a month, you can get your hands on some really cool additional stuff every month. We also have our community Facebook page, which is the This Paranormal Life Secret Society. Every week, that page gets more members.
Yeah.
And we announced it months ago. Why are you people waiting so long to join? There is some eye-opening shit going on in that page that I feel like half y'all aren't even seeing.
If you don't see the information on that Facebook page, you're going to miss the reckoning next week, okay? Listen, everyone who listens to this podcast is going to be on goddamn in Hyde Park next week wearing blue overalls and Nike trainers, drinking Kool-Aid like there's no tomorrow, because there is no tomorrow.
Oh yeah, a lot of the Patreon funding has gone towards Kool-Aid. Massive supplies of Kool-Aid, because when the rapture comes, me and Kit want NFL style buckets of poisoned Kool-Aid dunked over us as we give Ra one last praise and enter the eternal vessel up into the Golden Gates.
And you're going to miss this if you don't see the Facebook group, This Paranormal Life Secret Society.
Get your butts in there, people. If you also want to follow us on Twitter, we are at This Para Life. Facebook, This Paranormal Life. And if you have any of your stories you want us to investigate, or any of your own experiences with the paranormal, email us at thisparanormallifepodcast@gmail.com. I think that about wraps it up for this week.
So a special thank you to everyone who has pledged on Patreon thus far. We could not do it without you. Really, from the bottom of our hearts, it makes the podcast possible. And we would like to thank some of you specifically right here on the podcast. Here we go. Are you ready? Thank you so much to Anthony Ramirez.
Anthony, people say you are as small as an ant, but I think you're as big as an anthill.
Felipe.
Still small, but
Okay.
not as small as everyone's saying.
Felipe Flores.
Felipe, you're the floor is always clean when you're around. Because you, Jesus, I've got
Float
nothing.
like an angel. Your feet don't even touch the ground.
Thank you for saving me for that one.
Jesus. Simple and effective. Monique.
Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. Monique, if you have a clique I'd like to join eat.
Sarah Lovell.
I love you, Sarah. I really do.
Jesus.
I love you.
Just imagining people with names that don't really sound like love. Chris Loeb. I lobe you.
I lobe you hard.
This one actually is Chris. Chris Kleeman.
Chris, you are the Kleeman. You are the man. Chris Kleeman.
Greg Hayward.
Greg, hey, where'd you go? Hope it wasn't far, Chris. Stick around. Hey, it's Greg.
Paul Garmston. They say Paul Garmston has the sickest garms of all.
I didn't have anything better, so.
Chris Smith.
Chris Smith is my favorite time of year. I love Chris Smith. Thank you for contributing to the Patreon. We appreciate it a lot. It is very much a Chris Smith gift to us.
Amy Bryan.
I am sick of trying to be your friend. Just accept the request. I've been poking you. I've DM'd you on Twitter, Insta, Facebook, LinkedIn, Bebo, MySpace, direct message. Not DMs, but direct message as in putting it through her letterbox. And I'm yet to hear back. So
as in popping an envelope in her back pocket. She wasn't looking.
popping a package full of Barbie heads through the chimney, and still no friend request. Amy Bryant, come on.
Kevin Farrell.
Kevin Farrell, he's a good man. He's a great soldier. We fought together in the First World War of all time. World War II. The one that really counted.
I say that because I wasn't born for the First World War.
My First World War.
Again, short, simple, to the point. Sean Bon Jovi.
Sean Bon Jovi. You've written many bangers, and we appreciate that.
So honored.
You keep us fueled.
Joe Boris.
Joe Boris, I'd like to sample some of your Boris. Maybe some strawberries. Some raspberries. You're a good man. You're a good fruit.
And a great soldier.
A great soldier.
James Ashmore.
I'd like to change your name to James Firemore, because you got a lot of years left in you, James. You're not Ash just yet, buddy.
Paul Egerton.
Paul, you're a little too eager to get on this show. Paul, if many of you don't know this, but he's been trying to slide into our messages.
And you thought you would take some of his tactics that didn't work.
To befriend, the other woman, but it's just not working, unfortunately.
Thank you to Shan Stevenson.
Shan, you are the man. Well done. That's it. Don't look at me like you expected something f***ing clever. It rhymed, alright? That's good enough. Shan loves rhymes.
You ready for
If I know one thing about Shan, she loves rhymes.
Because Shan is like the word orange or silver. It doesn't rhyme with anything. So she thrives on rhymes.
Right.
Ray McFartsome.
That's low-hanging fruit there, isn't it? I'm going to say, Ray, you are the rays of sunshine in my life that beam down on me and melt my skin in a really good way.
Thank you to G. Oatman.
You are the G-O-A-T, the greatest of all time, and we appreciate your support.
Brian Lecomte.
Brian never is lying. Brian's never lying. He's a proud man. He's a good, strong lion. I would serve beside him any day of the year.
Brian Varney.
Brian Varney, we actually, when I first moved to London, we had a house together. Yeah, he was my first flat share. He lived in the basement. I lived in the attic, and we called the middle no man's land.
And every day we would, throw projectiles at each other down the stairs.
Yeah.
Thank you, lastly, not leastly, mostly, with the hostly, James Nesbitt.
James Nesbitt, famous Northern Irish actor, rival for life, both in and out of the dojo.
We actually went side by side in a lot of auditions in the early days in Northern Ireland. Yeah. Despite him being 50 years my senior, he always bested me, even in child roles, frankly.
It was very infuriating.
Yeah, I was perfect for. Were written for me by my own family, actually.
I mean, he would go in, do his interview, and come out, and I would immediately burst in after him and say, how many push-ups did James do? I guarantee you I will do 10 more. A lot of the times push-ups were not required for the role.
No, never.
My athleticism was frowned upon, as the role was for spindly, thin old men.
Yeah.
And the years of push-ups have made me quite jacked, disturbingly so. So I'm actually more of a hunchback.
My doctor says, why?
He says my next push-up could be my last. But the whole time I just hear James's cackle in the distance, laughing at me and my
with his
deformed
spindly arms.
And his beautiful smile. I think that's everyone, right? That's everyone for now. We'll be shouting out more names as the show progresses, obviously. So if you hadn't heard yours yet, you just hang in there, guys. It's coming. Don't worry about it. As always, thank you so much for listening to the show. And we will be back next Tuesday with a brand new paranormal tale. Thank you.
Ciao.